Hey everybody, Dottie, the brightest star. You already know how it goes. We're about to talk about some pretty serious things. So, I was looking for my glasses. They are not up there. Oh, and they dirty too. Ooh. Keep on hearing about food shortages. Sooner rather than later, these things are going to end up actually affecting us, and we're actually going to see the effects of these things. So I wanted to talk about a few things before we get to that point. How is it that we're going to feed our families? What is it that we're going to do? Preparation is very key when it comes down to this. Ideally, the best thing that you could do would be to start a garden, and be able to grow your own food. I know that a lot of us are not actually able to start a garden. I know I had a garden last year, and basically I was told that I can't have a garden where I live, which sucks. I would suggest stocking up on things that you can use. Stocking up on things like canned goods. Learning how to preserve your own foods are going to be key. Any extra food you can get it. You're going to want to you're really going to want to stock up on things like beans, lentils, rice, canned goods. You're also going to want to have a surplus of water. Learning how to collect rainwater, learning how to filter out the water that is available will also be key for you as well. There's something called a life straw, and it will help you to be able to filter out any water, and it filters up to I think it's like 100 gallons. So it's definitely worth the investment if you can get your hands on something like that. Definitely do it before it's too late. It's better to do it and not need it than need it and not do it. I also suggest that you start collecting runoff water. A lot of people talk about having water to be able to drink, but you're also going to need water to do things like brush your teeth, wash your dishes, wash your booty hole, because we don't want to be funky and trying to survive at the same time, because I will punch you in the face with your armpit. Another thing you're going to really want to do is stock up on medicine. So stocking up on things like cold medicine, antibiotics, learning how to make your own medicine from the things that are around you, having a good first aid kit, learning how to deal with wounds. These are all things that are going to be really important. I also suggest getting things like batteries, getting a portable solar panel if at all possible. You can find them on Amazon, and you can charge things like your phone, flashlight that maybe doesn't need batteries, things of this nature. Also, getting things that you can crank, like getting a crank flashlight, getting a radio, things that will help you to be able to communicate with the outside world. Getting things like walkie-talkies. You're going to want to have flashlights. You're going to want to have candles. I know all this stuff sounds really scary, but I would rather everybody be prepared than not be prepared, because things are about to get wacky. Like, I'm not saying this for my own health. I'm saying this because if you pay attention to what's happening, things are really about to get wacky. And if you're not going to comply, even if you are going to comply, they don't care. Their goal is to get rid of as many of us as possible. But the best way we can attack this is by doing things that are going to help us in the long run. It's also important, if you have animals, to have some extra food for your animals. I also suggest having a bug out bag for everybody in the family. So just in case things go bad, you can grab it, you can go. It doesn't need to contain a bunch of identifying information. Really, when it comes down to it, when the system collapses, nobody's going to care about that stuff. Like, you are who you say you are at this point. Another thing you really want to have is an exit plan. Where it is that you're going to go, who it is that's going to come with you. Make sure that the people that are coming with you you can trust. That is so important. Make sure you can trust the people who are going to be on your team, because when it comes down to it, this may end up being a life and death situation. You honestly may not want to, and this one's going to be hard, but you may not want to bring the vaccinated. I know that's hard for everybody, because a lot of people that you know, you love, you care about are people who have decided to go and get vaccinated. You yourself may be vaccinated. It honestly will be best for you to stay in society than to leave society. The reason why I say that is because we really don't know what's in these vaccines. Like, I'm just going to be honest. We really don't know what's in these vaccines. And the FDA has already said that they have a way to track animals. We are animals. Are you hearing what I'm saying? So they may be able to track these people. You're not going to want to have a new car. You're going to want to have something that doesn't have a GPS in it. You're going to want to have something that you can just get up and go and you can't be tracked. This is so important, because when things come down to it, when it comes down to it, this is a life and death situation. Because in all actuality, they've already been talking about things like quarantine camps and things of this nature. They're going to try their best to take anybody who is not complying and put them in a quarantine camp. This is basically going to come down to a new Holocaust. But this particular Holocaust is going to be all across the world. It's not going to just be one type of person. And if you're a person of, you really want to be mindful who's on your team. Also, another thing that you're going to want to do is you're not going to want to bring your cell phone to wherever it is that you are. You're going to want to leave your cell phones at least a mile away. So the thing about it, and I feel like not a lot of people know or understand this, but the only way you can actually turn off your cell phone is to take out the battery. If you notice, over the past 5 years, they've made it so we can't take out our battery. They can still turn on your phone. They can still listen to you. They can still track you. They can still find you. They can turn that GPS on, even if your GPS is off. It's a false sense of security that they're giving you when they say that, oh yeah, you can turn off your GPS. No, there's a reason why they shut down all the phones that didn't have the GPS in them. So when it comes down to it, when you pick your location, be mindful who it is that you give your location to, okay? The reason being is, like I said, make sure you can trust the people. Because if somebody gets caught and they are questioned, you don't want Sally Sue Loose Lips over there to give away your location. If you know that a person is a gossip, they can't keep water, don't tell them where you're going. Do not tell them where you're going, because that person is going to be the exact person, because trust and believe, they know Sally Loose Lips can't keep water. They will go and find Sally Loose Lips and be like, hey, where's X, Y, and Z? Where are they hiding? So you want to make sure that the people who are on your team are about this life. And even then, there are going to be points where you might have to just get up and go and abandon camp. Like, this is some real life stuff that I'm talking about. Like, and at no point am I trying to fear anybody, but I'm trying to get people ready and prepared for really what is about to happen. Like, when I say that I'm not new to this, I'm true to this. This has been running through my mind since I was 13 years old. I'm 30 now, about to be 31. Almost said about to be 32. Ooh. Girl's trying to age herself over here. We ain't doing that. Like I said, they've already talked about quarantine camps. They're going to push a lot of diseases on us. With the whole monkeypox thing, do you know that they just invented a new mRNA vaccine for the monkeypox? Isn't that forking convenient? that they're releasing a disease and they already have a vaccine that's been patented for it. Come on. Get hip to this. For a long time, I've been saying we are not going into this golden age like people think, but we are entering into a dark age. If you're a spiritualist, if you are an actual Christian, because a lot of Christians have already given into the system and they don't realize it. They don't realize it because they're not hip. They are not actually connected. Because if you were actually connected, you would have looked at what was happening 2 years ago and been hip to the shit. Okay? Excuse my French, but it's the truth. You would have been hip to it. You would have been like, okay. Because I said before they even started the lockdowns, when things started to get a little bit sketchy, I was like, they're going to end up coming out with a vaccine for this. And they're going to end up pushing this vaccine very hard. I ended up saying this stuff at work. And I wonder if anybody from my old job was like, Dottie was right. She was right about this. And like I said, I am not saying any of this to scare you. That is not my goal. I know a lot of people are talking about the shift, new earth, all these things. But what people are not seeming to grasp, and this is upsetting me about the spiritual community as well. What the spiritual community is not seeming to grasp, and even the Christians are not seeming to grasp, because they're like, oh, everything's going, or the shift is going to happen before the 7 years of tribulation. I don't think it's going to go that way. And I'm just going to be honest. I think that we're going to be in tribulation before the shift actually happens. If you listen to people like Dolores Cannon, this was part of the reason why, as a Christian, I started to look outside of the Bible, is because there are other key elements outside of the Bible that you're not going to find unless you start to look outside of the Bible. And here's another thing, is when it comes to like the Left Behind series and all of this, this was put out by Hollywood, was it not? So they're not going to be able to tell you the actual stuff. Are you catching what I'm saying? Because they're not going to be able to tell you the whole truth. They're only going to be able to tell you part of it, because the goal is to confuse. So what better way than to confuse people than, oh yeah, we're not going to happen. Oh, tribulation's not going to happen. Tribulation is starting now. Like, wake up. Smell the fucking roses at this point. Tribulation started 2 years ago. Like, it's about to get really bad. And I don't think people are actually being hip to what's happening. Like, hello, wake up, smell the roses. When they said that the new normal, that meant, like, nothing is going to go back to the way that it was. Pre-2020, nothing's going to go back to the way that it was. In 2022, a lot of us have realized that 2022 is just a repeat of 2020. And we said this a couple of months ago. Okay? So just be mindful of these things. And remember, it's going to get worse before it gets better. But the key is to start preparing for when things get worse. But with that, make sure that while you can, you enjoy life. And even when things happen, do things that make you happy. Do things that make you enjoy life. They can't take your joy. At the end of the day, they can't take your joy. So don't allow them to take your joy. This is something that helps you to stay in a high vibration. And when the shift happens, you're going to want to be vibrating as high as possible. There's some other things that I'm going to talk about, because there's a lot of things that we need to cut out of our fucking diets. Mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. There are certain people that spirit, especially last year, and this is what bothers me so badly about these TikTok astrologists, is that none of them were telling you the actual truth last year, because damn near every transit last year was separating us. It was pulling people apart. And a lot of people who were pulled apart last year have came back into your existence, have came back into your reality, and you're just open to it. Don't be open to it because it's all a test. It's all to try and bring your frequency back down. Like, just like there are spiritual warriors on the good side, there's spiritual warriors on the bad side. Like, get it together, guys. Please. Humanity literally rests on our shoulders. And here's another thing that we need to talk about is there are some people who are going to think that they've done something wrong because when the shift happens, they're going to be left here. You were never meant to shift. If this happens, you were never meant to shift. You were meant to change things and to help people along the way, because we're still going to have to make sure that we're raising our frequency, that we're raising our vibration, because anybody who is not taking this mark, things are not going to be easy for us. Okay? I don't say this, like I said, I'm not saying any of this to scare anybody. I'm telling you this because you need to know this, and you need to know this now, because soon we're not going to be able to communicate the way that we are now. It's going to be short forms of communication. Make sure the people who are on your team are people you can trust. If you cannot trust them, you need to let them go now. Okay? Start connecting, start meditating, start praying, remembering your roots. Whatever it is, however it is that you connect, it is more pivotal now that you connect than ever. Okay? I love you guys. Peace, love, chicken grease. And have a great day. We'll talk later.